This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
No, you are.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Oh, so unlawful orders. Like what? Well, I'm just saying there could be Have there been any? This is a big story here right now. And I do my news briefings in the morning where I have it set so I listen to NPR and Fox News and then ABC and CNN. They have all these sort of podcast installments. So it's just one of the first sort of forms of news that I digest in the morning. And everyone was talking about this as though Donald Trump had made a major call to arms to execute political opposition. That's not really what happened. So several Democrat senators and Congress representatives implored soldiers and intel officers to effectively betray the military under Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
Pause.
With that,
Look, I know that people in the military are always under stress and pressure because it's a job that comes with potentially catching a bullet, right? Dying for your country. But they're implying more stress right now?
Yeah, they're under this much stress as they get record recruitment?
Yeah.
Decades?
Right. Record recruitment.
People are just lighting up for the stress?
Right. Yeah.
It's not enough stress in my life. I want to go be in the military.
Yeah, and historically relatively few in active combat. So again, they start off with a false premise, but let's continue.
trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
Against American citizens.
No, you are.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army, or Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Moving.
Is that coming from a CIA?
Yeah. Well, what they'll say is, well, we said unlawful. We said unlawful orders. Okay? And here's what they do, right? Same thing as going fascist. There's a strain of fascism in the country. You're seeing tyranny. You're seeing totalitarianism. You're seeing a rise of Nazism. And then they say, well, I didn't say who. This is the problem with the I'm just asking questions approach.
Right.
If people, it's fine to ask questions, but if you only ask questions and you never have answers, and that's also why I have that 5-point litmus test, which we'll probably make available to you as you go through Thanksgiving. I would love to sit down with these people and ask them quite simply. That's why I don't have a lot of respect for people who won't defend their viewpoints. Oh, so unlawful orders, like what? Well, I'm just saying there could be Have there been any? Have there been any that you have said are unlawful? Have you implied that any orders are unconstitutional from this administration to the military? Are there any types of policies or actions that you have repeatedly ad nauseum said are unconstitutional or unlawful? Are those the types of orders?
It is illegal, in fact, to call out the National Guard or to send troops into American cities.
It is completely un-American and needlessly provocative for Donald Trump to deploy National Guard and Marines to Southern California.
And I think I speak for all Americans. We don't believe it's legal to use the American military against American citizens.
Not legal,
on American
unlawful are
soil.
synonyms.
I think that's a fairly widely held fact.
Let's be clear. Using the National Guard this way is illegal. It is unlawful. It cannot be done consistent with our law and Constitution.
Oh.
You cannot use it in the means in which the Trump administration is continuing to use it.
The deployment of federal troops without authorization is unconstitutional. Masked, unidentified ICE agents snatching people off the streets is unconstitutional, period.
There are legitimate concerns that this president is going to issue and has issued unlawful orders to American troops who are operating on American soil.
Is that clear enough? Check the references. And this is my problem with people throwing out accusations separately so that they can act as though it's disconnected. They can go on for months and months and months with the major story in the news and go unlawful, illegal. These orders are unlawful, unconstitutional, illegal. And then separately go, by the way, if you are in the military, you need to refuse any unlawful orders. It's your duty. But they say, well, hold on, we said this was unlawful. But we didn't say the two together.
Right.
And then they make it about the response. The response would be far more appropriate if these people were honest. If they said, yeah, by the way, sending in troops, using the National Guard, whether it's Chicago, Washington, D.C., or using ICE, that's unconstitutional. And by the way, those of you who are asked to carry them out, don't do them. Refuse to do them because they're unconstitutional, unlawful. If they said that, then Donald Trump's response would seem entirely appropriate. As a matter of fact, necessary.
Necessary, absolutely.
Yeah, and we know that's what they're saying.
Yeah, that is what they're saying. They're trying to be sneaky about it, like we're dumb, or like the troops are dumb.
Right.
But they're not. They understand what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, too.
And here's the thing, too, is that we understand what they're doing. It's a form of propaganda. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's a form of propaganda. And they say you don't have to, you can refuse, you have to refuse an illegal order. I saw today, somebody was saying it is the responsibility of a service member to refuse illegal orders. So what does that mean? So if they don't refuse an illegal order, now they're subject to punishment under the Uniform Code of Military Justice? Right. Is that what you're saying? They're going to get punished for not refusing orders?
You want every single private making that judgment call?
Exactly. Every single private. If you've served in the military, you know there are some that'll stick your fingers in your mashed potatoes and go, are you done eating that? Because I'm retarded.
Yeah, that sounds specific.
There's a few of us that are mentally handicapped, and you're asking them to make a decision that the Supreme Court, the ultimate arbiter in our country, comes to a 5-4 decision on?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we have, like we've discussed, the chain of command is very important in any unit, any company.
Yeah.
And we then have a cross-reference. We then have checks and balances on the chain of command if it's challenged. This is constitutional. In this case, it's quite clear, but that doesn't stop the left from saying that it's not and saying it's your duty. How do you think the military, Josh makes a really good point, could operate, right, in the fog of war? And so in response, which is what the news is covering, Trump posted this across Truth, several posts. He wrote, "This is really, really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. They can't. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up? 3 question marks. I don't know. I'm asking you, but then I'll post another saying it's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Frankly, each one of these traitors for our country should be arrested and put on trial. Seditious behavior, punishable by death." He also retruthed this. "Hang them, George Washington would." Now, that's a retruth, to be clear.
Yes.
Also, just to be clear, there could be some confusion because word is that Elisa Slotkin is already quite hung. But is there precedent? So we already have the left saying, hey, this is unconstitutional, it's unlawful, it's illegal, it's your duty to refuse unlawful orders. And now they want to act like this kind of rhetoric. Sedition?
Yeah, but arrest them and put them on trial.
Arrest them, put them on trial. This kind of rhetoric, because again, the George Washington would hang them. And by the way, fact check true, he did.
He made his troops watch.
Yeah, he did.
He brought his brigade and made his troops watch.
Made an example of them. But people like to think, oh, no, he just was smoking hemp out on his golden years. Well, he did that too, but it's not the only thing he did. 2 things can be true. Let's put them on trial, right, for sedition. Do we have any examples of the left accusing the opposing political side of sedition, of treason? Is this unprecedented? I think with a montage.
History must record that this Congress made it clear that no president can incite his followers into insurrection.
We indicated that the Justice Department, with the evidence it has, which may be additional to what we have gathered, should consider seditious conspiracy.
We as a nation can no longer look away. The president,
thank you, Scorpion,
not only incited an insurrection against our government, but has in word and deed led a rebellion.
Remarkable case about the sedition of a president of the United States, the first seditious president in our history.
A seditious conspiracy against the United States government.
And because the president of the United States incited this, because he was orchestrating this, because he was inviting them, The insurgents were not shy
Insurgents.
about their plan.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection. That too.
It'd be the first time you'd be around one, huh? By the way, they're talking about this right now, live on CNN. And look, they have a guy in a cowboy hat, so he's probably just like you.
Oh.
So should they have made the ad? No. When you look at it, what they're doing is they're advocating troops not
say
obey
unlawful
orders
Watch.
of the President of the United States.
There you go.
Unlawful orders. But they also said this
Nailed it.
president is unconstitutional. Show me where the president is unconstitutional. Show me where execution of a lawful order is unconstitutional. That's a definition of sedition. Now, both sides, and this is a larger view, we need as Americans to stop.
Okay.
We need to get the anger.
Yeah, done with you.
Oh,
this
we
is
need
the
to
thing.
get the anger
and
out.
this is also why I would say, a lot of these people, they won't show up, even with prize money. That guy needs to keep her face on it.
Yes.
He goes, they accused Donald Trump. No, go. They have been accusing Donald Trump throughout his entire first term. And they've impeached him, by the way, for this. And they have been continuing this rhetoric nonstop with each policy. Pretty much every major policy that has been executed that involves the military, they have said, is unconstitutional, is unlawful. So they have been saying that nonsense. That is the only thing that people have heard from these representatives on the left regarding Donald Trump's use of the military. All of it is unlawful. All of it is unconstitutional. And then they say it is your duty.
Right.
Unlawful order. So have you asked them? Have you asked the people who said it was unlawful, unconstitutional, if they still believe that? Or did they recant? Because if they haven't, then it is by definition sedition. It is by definition treason. Not some guy in face paint who was invited in on a walking tour to the Capitol.
And what?
He also wasn't a service member.
Right.
The people at January 6th weren't service members.
Right.
They weren't armed forces.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't encourage a coup.
They weren't even armed.
Josh, very quickly, what happens if you refuse to follow an order?
Well, I mean,
there are a lot of depth, right? But you get in trouble. Serious trouble.
That depends on if it's lawful or unlawful.
No. Well, let's say that it's lawful.
I had a guy refuse to follow me in a cave.
Really?
Yeah, they sent him home the next day.
There you go.
Court-martialed.
Okay. So court-martialed the next day for that. Let's go even further. Let's say it's an even more serious situation in a time of war. All these things, like the penalties can go up. Are the Democrats really in a position right now where they can come out and just say this is unconstitutional what he's doing for political purposes? Are they going to have the back of the service member that then takes their word for it and doesn't follow an order and ends up getting at the very best just dishonorably discharged and have their life potentially ruined? Are you going to have their backs as well?
Who are you talking about? Are you talking
gambit?
Are you talking about the military officers, not enlisted, the officers and the CIA operatives? I don't think they're going to have anyone's back.
No, I don't. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have anyone's back.
That's my point. Listen, this is Democrats hanging service men and women out to dry because for political points, we said this was unconstitutional. Then we told you not to follow illegal orders, and you took our word for it.
Kind of like
joke's on you, I guess.
Kind of like saying that our wars were unconstitutional, so they voted to not send them body armor, that kind of thing.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then they say we support our troops more than anybody. Have you met Code Pink? Crazy bitches.
Won't it weed out all the woke officers and woke people who do refuse to follow orders? Because I think people who are signing up now are going to stick with it and follow.
Yeah,
orders.
I don't think that's happening though.
Yeah.
I don't think people are even refusing orders.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think
I think even the people that are very woke or very leftist in the higher ranks of the military, even if they do take that side of this issue, they're not going to speak about it.
Right.
Which is smart to do because you have different rights as a service member.
Right.
You're not allowed to say certain things. You're not allowed to do certain things.
Right.
Especially if you're in uniform. So you have to no matter who the president is, if you don't like you're not allowed to go out in uniform in public and be like, I hate President Trump. I hate President Obama. That is a crime, regardless of your political.
When I was in, I did some shows in Guantanamo Bay, and while I was there, I filmed a documentary. Now we were able to see some things that were like, you can't show this on camera. But even then, when they would talk with us off camera, they go, yeah, well, this has actually changed under this administration, and this is a new problem that we have to face, and these are the new difficulties. They would say, I can't say that on camera. And I'm not even saying I don't like Barack Obama. He's neutered our military. People saying there are a lot of complications now and red tape. They were like, I can't be seen saying that on camera because they feared getting in trouble for that. The left wants them, and I completely respected it. The left wants them to step out. And just to be clear, if you're one of these people, this is what they do. They use you as a sacrificial lamb. If someone does step out and refuses orders and says, hey, that's because it was unlawful, they might give you some heat. They might put you in a story in the headlines for about a week. and they will forget about you.
Yep.
And your life is ruined. That's what they do. It's what they do. And Representative Jason Crow, who was in that video, by the way, doubled down, but just sort of changed it a bit, probably because he talked with his lawyers.
This morning, President Donald Trump threatened to have me arrested and executed simply for reminding our service members of their oaths to follow the Constitution and to defend the rule of law.
Yeah, that's all you did.
It's very telling that President Trump and those around him think it's criminal simply for asking people to follow the law. This moment requires moral clarity. Every American, regardless of your background, should unite and reject his calls for political violence. This is a moment that requires leadership. I intend to uphold my obligation, my oath, and to lead. Don't give up the ship.
So it switched from don't follow orders to reject political violence.
And
while
wearing a drafting shirt?
Yeah. Also, by the way, they've said that it's political violence for ICE to go into sanctuary cities and deport people. So
actually do their jobs.
Yes. Yeah. This is what they do. Yeah. And then they blame you. It really is masterful gaslighting.
I love the part where he says moral clarity.
Yeah.
Moral clarity. Thank you for giving me the compass.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for guiding me into what is moral and what is not moral.
We're going to take we're going to make sure that we understand the rules on moral clarity from the party that raided Melania Trump's panty drawers.
Yeah.
But left classified documents next to Joe Biden's Corvair. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
They're playing with people's lives. And by the way, of course, the penalty for seditious conspiracy is at least a fine up to 20 years in prison. Some cases, it was execution for a very long time historically if you committed treason in this country. So that's what the left has accused the right of doing, and now they claim to be victims. Pop quiz. Who decides what is an unconstitutional order or not? Who decides what is a lawful order in a time of war? First up is, obviously, Commander-in-Chief, and then it can be challenged, and the Supreme Court will rule. But that's because you can't govern just by committee when you have to make snap decisions. I know that everyone thinks every single strike, every single military action needs to go through Congress. That's not true. He is the commander-in-chief. That's a military term for a reason. And then, of course, if someone oversteps their bounds, goes to the Supreme Court. But in this case, we already know. The left disregards all of that while accusing you of losing trust in your institutions. And notice that they never support the troops on the ground. They support those in the military or those in the intel community at desks. Right? That's what we see a lot. I mean, even look, we're still doing something. We were supposed to have her on as a guest probably next week. Crooks, right? They talked about it on Tucker's show. I believe is it Miranda Devine is her name?
Yep.
Where we were told, and I would love to ask Kash Patel these questions. We were told this guy had no digital footprint. Turns out he may have.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Actually, the best tweet or best X post on this was Jeremy from the Quartering, who said, well, we now actually have an official connection between Crooks and who was the Crooks and the assassin of Charlie Kirk, furries. And it's actually true. It's actually accurate.
And you sat down with one.
Yes, I did.
Took your life in your own hands. Really quickly, just because he always looks for an opportunity to sound like a tough guy. And
oh no, Kinzinger.
Right. Normally, see, it's there are other people in this category than Kinzinger. He's got to compete for the top spot. Chris Murphy, basically went out and said that we are now having the sitting president of the United States calling for the murder or calling for the death of his political opponents. And
capital punishment isn't murder.
He had a
good point.
He had quite the one-liner on this.
Let me see.
The President of the United States just called for members of Congress to be executed.
Executed, that's the right.
If you are a person of influence in this country...
Hold on a second. This is real?
Maybe it's time to pick a f***ing side.
That's not AI?
His response to this.
That's not AI?
Not AI.
I didn't know that a real man could look like such a
He does.
Whoa, he said
Yeah,
he's
said,
pretty tough. So you better watch it or he's going to come kick your
I wasn't scared until then.
I'm scared as
Now I'm scared.
Let me read it again. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial.
Whoops.
Seditious behavior punishable by death is what he wrote.
If found guilty.
Arrested and put on trial, and it's punishable by death. I can't tell you how many times I heard about that regarding treason in January 6th, where people were invited on a walking tour. He did not call for the execution at all. You called for people in the military, people who aren't as privileged as you, who may catch a bullet for their country at some point, to do something illegal, to do something for which they would have to pay the consequences, and you would move on to a new talking point.
What does he mean by that, by the way?
Thank you.
When he says pick a f***ing side, what does he mean by that? Civil war?
Yeah.
Or what? What is the sides? What are we talking about sides?
Right.
I'm an American citizen. Look, I know I'm on a conservative show every day, but I don't identify left or right. All right? I lean more to the right for sure. That's obvious. But pick a side. What do you mean pick a side?
Yeah.
It's not a game, dude. I'm a person.
Yeah, I know.
What do I have to do with any of this shit? Except unless you're asking me to pick up arms with you and pick a side.
Well, what should your response be, Josh, if the president of the United States is actively calling to execute members of Congress that oppose him?
And I pick a
What is the
side?
natural response that people should have to something like that happening in the United States of America? To get really mad and go out and do a No Kings protest?
I'm looking up the
Something like
definition
that?
of insurrection.
Yeah, I mean, while they're chopping heads off on the White House lawn, am I supposed to hold a picket sign that says I don't support this, Chris Murphy? What are you calling people to do?
Let me ask this. How do you deal with fascist dictators? You can't vote them out.
Well, you got to picket them.
Yeah. No, you can't picket them out.
That's what I'm saying.
Code pink isn't enough, right? Let's just be really, really reductive.
Hitler just called for the execution of Jews. It's time to pick a side.
They protested.
Good point.
How did that work out?
Yeah, exactly. Pick a side. This man wants to kill people. You need to pick a side. Well, if you think he's killing, then you're going to do some killing. Only Donald Trump is not doing any killing. Let's be really clear about that. They know exactly what they're doing on the left. And it's not exclusive to the left, but of course, they are the originators. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.